Okay, so thank you, Christoph, for the invitation to present this alumni talk. Myself, Dr. Amretashis Sengupta. I am from India and I'm also associated with the India chapter of the University of Bremen Alumni Association. And it's a privilege to be here. So uh, basically, I will present my journey, academic journey, and how I came to Bremen. I came to Bremen in 2016-17 as a postdoc at BCCMS, and but before that also I came a few times, and also after that. So there is some long association with the university, and I'll just present in briefly my journey and also um some pictures and experiences from the time. So this is where I am from. I'm from India in a town called Siliguri. So this city is in the Darjeeling district. Darjeeling is famous for tea, and this is at the junction of. You see, one side there is Bangladesh, one side there is Nepal, there is Bhutan, and the northern state of Sikkim. Uh, so this is Darjeeling, the town of Darjeeling, about 50 kilometers or so from Siliguri, and this is the same district. And yeah, and we have this is an aerial view of the city. There are some Buddhist monasteries nearby. This is a very nice toy train, so-called toy train. It starts from Siliguri and goes all the way to Darjeeling. It is a very famous icon of our place. This district is well known for tea, and this is just few hundred meters away from my home where I stay. So this is a very nice, the tea gardens there, the plantations are there, and my grandfather was a planter, so some of the trees are actually planted by my grandfather in that plantation. We do not own it, but he, he was the manager there sometime. And there are also some nice wild animals around. I could not capture a glimpse. So this is about few kilometers from where I stay. So you can see that there is an elephant crossing 100 meters ahead. Uh, these are some mountains and streams flowing nearby. So it's quite a scenic and beautiful place. Population wise, it is quite highly populated in a small area. The area is much smaller than about one third of Bremen, but the population, this is data from 2011. So uh, even at that time, it was close to that of Bremen. So now definitely it has exceeded much more. And so it is a small town, but densely populated, but surrounded by mountains and in the foothills of the Himalaya mountain range. From Bremen, it is a long, long distance to Siliguri. So around 8,300 kilometers. By walking, it will take 1870 hours. So we are lucky that we have aeroplanes to travel the world nowadays. So I will come to my academic journey and where I studied. So I did my BSc and MSc from North Bengal University, MTech and PhD from Jadavpur. Then I was a postdoc at IISc, and then I got a assistant professorship as an inspired faculty, which was an Indian government program like the Marie Curie in Europe. So that clubbed with some teaching fellowship, the Indian government had introduced a faculty fellowship. So I was associated with the National Institute, IIEST, and there I worked from 2014 to 19. And in that period, actually on study leave, I could visit Bremen quite a few times. So I'll just show you some so-called postcards from India. So this is my school that I studied. Then this is my college. This was the physics department somewhere around here. In this floor, the entire was physics department. This is another view of the college. But I studied did my BSc, and then I went to the University of North Bengal, which was nearby. And it is a nice campus, green campus, lot of flora and fauna. So nice regional flowers and butterflies, some frogs and squirrels. Many small animals are also there. And then I went to Jadavpur University after 2007. I got my MSc degree, and then I went to Jadavpur University. And it is a very famous university in India. And I did my MTech and PhD from there. So this is one of the main gates, the buildings. This is the convocation degree awarding during that time, the picture with some of my friends in MTech, batchmates. This is me getting the degree. I also got a medal for good performance, so my parents were very happy at that time. I did my PhD also from Jadavpur University, so this is my PhD group where I used to work. My PhD advisor, Professor Sarkar, and my lab mates are there. And this is me getting the PhD degree. Uh, then I went to Indian Institute of Science, IISc. This is one of the big institutes in India, and very famous for its science and engineering. And this is the iconic building. This photo actually is taken by me. This is very green and scenic campus, and I'm having some fun in the lab. So one of my lab mates took the photo uh, with me with the equations. I was spending all the day with some equations and some stuff. So thereafter, this is where I was working as the faculty fellow as Inspire faculty. And it is during that time, after 2014, that I could go to Bremen. So I went to what was then the Jacobs University, now known as Constructor University. In 2015, I went there first. Also to Regensburg and Bremen. So how I went to the Bremen, that I will just present a bit. So this was a journey from India to Germany. So what I have shown so far is my life in India. And before coming to Germany, what kind of perception as a young person growing up in India I had as a kid, then as a school or college student. So there was the popular culture, pop culture perception of Germany at that time was that it is very good, obviously, in science and engineering. So many great scientists came from there, so many theories and such, uh, and experiments that came from Germany. They play very good football, right? They won many World Cups, and also uh, they make very expensive cars like this Mercedes, Volkswagen, BMW, and such. Uh, Historic places are there. Also, in college, I used to watch some dubbed uh, TV show, popular TV show from Germany, some The Alarm for Cobra 11. So that I used to watch in college at times. And I had also heard the name of Bremen, that because I was a football fan, I knew about this famous club from Bremen, Werder Bremen, which used to be quite regular in the European leagues at that time. So uh, before beforehand, I knew about Bremen only about the Werder Bremen, and then while studying, I in uh, university and doing my research, I came to know about University of Bremen, and I was very surprised to get an invitation, very pleasantly surprised to get an invitation to present my work in a workshop, CCAM workshop in University of Bremen in October 2014. And that was a very big moment for me as a young postdoc. I went there and I presented my work. So this is me presenting the work, and this is the gathering at the workshop. And in the workshop, I met so many people. So I'll just explain how that kind of influenced my studies and research henceforth. So before going to Bremen in that workshop, I was actually looking for a postdoc abroad, going to Europe and maybe to Germany. And I was writing emails to many professors. So some of them responded, and most prominent among them was Professor Thomas Niehaus, whom I contacted about any possibility of guest researcher under DAD or DFG. Incidentally, he also was associated with University of Bremen with Professor Frauenheim's group. So this is Professor Niehaus in Regensburg in 2015. So I also met him during the conference in Bremen, and also Professor Thomas Heine, whom I had once emailed regarding some query about I was writing a paper and there was something I could not understand properly about how to present that, what the theory behind that was, and I just emailed him, and it was such a nice gesture that he emailed back with a lot of explanations and such things. It helped me immensely. So I was in contact with him also, and I met them in the conference, and again in 2014, and then we discussed that we can put together a proposal maybe, and we did put it, and luckily we got funding for 3 months from DFG under the Aufbau International Cooperation Program, and I came to Jacobs University Bremen, which is now known as the Constructor University, and also to University of Regensburg. So this is me in Regensburg, and this is at Jacobs. It was a very big moment, my first foreign research visit, you can say. And also in Bremen, I met Professor Frauenheim and the CCAM conference. So he is a big stalwart of computational material science, and to meet him and interact with him, it was something of a life-changing experience to meet such a prominent scientist. And in India, we have a saying that knowledge cannot be obtained from anywhere else, but only from the Guru. Therefore, with the blessings of the Guru, one can attain wisdom. So I was thinking that I need to stay longer in Germany, and the environment was so great. The facilities I could see during my stay in 2015, that it was so great. So I also was in contact with Professor Frauenheim, and he suggested, I also visited Uni Bremen once informally in 2015 to his lab to discuss if there are any fellowships or such things for longer term with which I can explore more. So I went there in 2015, and we put together a proposal for the Hanse Wissenschafts College, HWK, in Germany. It is in Delmenhorst, so it is close to Bremen, and they provide scholarships, fellowships too, fully funded research stays, and many other kind of components are there. So I got the fellowship in energy research, and they provide a place to stay, and they provide a sort of a stipend, and also we can stay there. And from there, I used to come to BCCMS to work every weekdays. So this is me at BCCMS. This is HWK, the room there, and so I could finally start in 2016 August. I could go to the 10 months fellowship. I could start working at Uni Bremen for the HWK fellowship in energy research. This is my room where I was working. This is the key. So I have a small habit of taking photographs, which can be memorable events and such things, and they have come in handy today. So coming to a little bit about my research in Bremen. So basically, there are certain materials. After the discovery of graphene, there was a lot of interest in the kind of materials which are known as 2D materials. So graphene is a 2D material. So what is a 2D material? Basically, it is a very atomically thin material, but the thickness is only, say, 1 atom thick in case of graphene, or 2 or 3 atoms thick in case of some other layered materials. And these layers, like they are like nanostructured sheets, and they can be separated. And because they are so ultra thin materials, few atomic layers thin, they have a very unique property in terms of high surface to volume ratio. They have good catalytic properties. Uh, they have good adsorption properties. They also have very good electrical conductivity in some cases. So there are insulators, semiconductors, metal, semi-metal, half metal, superconductors, all kinds of material in this 2D layered material family do exist. And these 2D crystals, around 1400 plus 2D materials were predicted in a 2018 DQ study, and of them more than 500 have also already been synthesized at that point, and more are being synthesized nowadays. And not only that, they can also be stacked together to form the so-called van der Waals heterostructures. Now, these van der Waals heterostructure is, we can think of it as like playing with blocks of Lego, but the blocks are basically these ultra thin layered materials held together by van der Waals forces, and they can be dissimilar materials as well. They may not be the same. Like here we see a graphene, then there is some uh, HBN, then there is another layer of graphene, reduced graphene oxide or something, or for black phosphorus. Different kind of materials we can combine together and form a kind of a structure, a heterostructure, or something resembling a superlattice in the nanoscale. And they can have property that is different from that of the constituent materials. So that is a very interesting thing, that we can have such a large playground with so many different type of materials, and each of the different materials, they have different applications. Like there is a family called the TMD, that is the transition metal dichalcogenide. They are useful for electrochemical energy storage, photonics, gas sensors, biosensors, and such. Then there are metazines or MXene, so they are also useful for battery, lithium ion battery, sodium ion battery, and other kind of batteries, supercapacitors, adsorption materials, hydrogen storage, and such. Black phosphorus or phosphorine, which is a single layer of phosphorus, that also has application in batteries, thermoelectric sensors, electronic devices, and so many different possibilities with these 2D materials are there. And if we take into account the heterostructures, we can engineer even more new properties. So during my stay at Bremen, one of the things we were looking at, that among these different new 2D materials, we were thinking of suitable materials to improve the performance of present day lithium or sodium ion batteries. So one of the hindrances in present batteries is the kind of anodes we use, that is graphite anodes. So how we can have anode materials which are more uh, capable of storing charge, more capable of storing those lithium ions or sodium ions or other ions in calcium ion or potassium ion batteries. So we were studying that, and it is known that 2D materials are very good for this purpose. So many experimental and theoretical studies are going on, and that time also they were going on. So our project, it was 10 months only, but our outlook was to study a few such materials and see how they perform. And we were doing it with computational material science. Now, the Bremen Center, or BC for Computational Material Science, or BCCMS, uh, is a very famous center in the circle of computational material science, because it is the inventor of the DFTV, the Frauenheim group invented the method known as density functional tide binding. I'll not go much into the technicalities of that, but it is a method that combines the very best elements of density functional theory and the semi-empirical methods. So there are different ways of predicting the properties of a material, how it will behave, how it will absorb a certain kind of ion or not, how the ion will easily pass through it, pass over the surface, diffusion, how these things will happen. We can predict from computational chemistry or computational material science. And basically, we try to solve the quantum mechanical problem. We try to solve the Schrodinger equation in a way. And there are different approximate methods, like there are many Berry methods, density functional theory, semi-empirical methods, and molecular mechanics. So in this direction, the theoretical rigor increases. So DFT is more complex than molecular and semi-empirical. Many body is the most complex, theoretically most rigorous. But there is also another thing that is known as system complexity. That means how much large number of atoms it can handle. So this is theoretical rigor. Many body is most rigorous, but it cannot handle too many atoms. So a solid will have many atoms, structures, large crystals, even in 2D form, will have much more number of atoms. And if we are looking to study things like batteries and such, so there will be, just as I showed in the previous slide, so there will be multiple layers, and then the interaction between the ions and the layers, those have to be taken into account and such. So for that, very good trade-off can be achieved with this software DFTB. So density functional tight binding, as I already said, and I'll say again, it was developed at BCCMS University of Bremen, and it's a great combination of the best elements of density functional theory and the tight binding kind of methods. And it is freely available to the community. So the skill set I earned working at Bremen, by using this kind of softwares, learning about software development, I learned a lot about quantum mechanical materials modeling, 2D materials, and thin films. I was already working on it, but I learned much more. So the stay at Bremen and the previous interactions as well, that enriched me a lot. It enhanced my skill set, and all these points of my skill set, also to some extent in programming and AI, I benefited a lot during my stay. So my PhD was in nanomaterials. Then I became interested in 2D materials, and then in applications of 2D materials, especially energy and devices. So Bremen played a huge part in my career development, in my knowledge-based development. And this is one of the work. We investigated a new material, 2D antimony, which was discovered recently at that time as a potential anode material for lithium or sodium ion batteries. We did a computational study on that. And based on that study, the interesting thing is we found that it was quite good for sodium ion batteries, actually better than conventional materials for sodium ion batteries. And soon, after a year or so, the number of experimental papers on 2D antimony-based supercapacitors, anodes, and such things started coming out after our publication, and they all cited our publications. And there was also some technology demonstrators, some patent in China as well, who cited our work on that we had provided the initial proposed this kind of thing, and they could experimentally realize also batteries and supercapacitors based on 2D antimony. So that was one of the highlights. There are more, but I will keep it brief. I returned again to Bremen incidentally in October 2017 and stayed till January 2018, and that was under the DFG research training group. So the BCCM has got a research training group in quantum mechanical materials modeling, and with that I came to Bremen. This time I was not staying in Delmenhorst, but in Bremen, somewhere near Amdorben in Humboldtstrasse, I guess. Yeah, that's how I remember. I think I was in Humboldtstrasse, and I could go to uni much more easily every day. And there is this also. There's Christmas time was there in between, so I could see the Christmas market and everything. So I explored a lot, had enjoyed the Christmas party in BCCMS and such. It was a great time. Uh, these are some of the publications I made at BCCMS. Just and this one from my previous day in Constructor University, and some conference publications. So in terms of networking also, my stay at University of Bremen gave me a lot of exposure to different groups. So if you see this kind of a spider map, all the collaborations on my right side, all these are from University of Bremen. Collaboration with Professor Farnham, obviously, Professor Heine, he was also my advisor in the HWK project. Professor Niehaus, also I started collaborating. I have an ongoing association with Rudy. So he was also a student of Professor Heine. Also, later on, I went to Glasgow and I had collaborations with IIT. But the thing I want to say is that Bremen University gave me so many diversified branches of collaboration. So it was like a pivot in my networking. So feedbacks, some flashbacks rather from life in Bremen after the technical stuff I would like to put. So this is the famous glass house. This is the boulevard and Mensa somewhere near it. Uh, this is the central station, Hauptbahnhof, the Northwestbound line, which I used to take, the tram of the BSAG. This is not from Bremen. This is actually my first experience of German food when I came to Frankfurt. In the conference, I came through Frankfurt. My flight got delayed, and I ate at a counter. But this is my first exposure to true, authentic German food, fast food, rather. But also, I enjoyed a lot the burgers, fish burgers, which are unique to Bremen. Visited the Mercedes factory, the St. Petri Dome, town musicians. This is Fegesack, Bremerhaven, and me with my friends from the lab, we in 2017 we went to a Bundesliga game, and Werder Bremen were losing at that time in the league. They were not doing very well, but the day we went to the stadium, they won 4-0 against, I think the game was against Hannover 96, and it was around 0 degrees at Weserstadion, and it was a very cold night in Bremen. But for me, it was cold actually, but it was a great experience. And this is me with Professor Dr. Reto Wheeler, who was the rector of the Hans Wissenschaft College in 2017. This is my farewell uh, from the group. And a CCAM conference group photo, which has our entire BCCMS group and other collaborators as well. The famous uh, glass house from the inside in the uni. This is me in front of the TAB building and also in the snow. So first time I experienced the winter, true form of winter in Europe. And also I like to thank Christoph right now that even after I came back from Bremen to India, and we met at a meeting. I think it was a Christmas celebration, Christmas and New Year celebration kind of a meeting before that of the Alumni Association, and me and some of my friends from India, we were present in the meeting, and there we kind of conceptualized that maybe we can start an India chapter of the Alumni of University of Bremen, and it has been a great privilege to have actively participated in the establishment of the chapter. And I would like to thank all of my all of the members of the India chapter, Madhura and Karthikeyan and others. So finally, I would finish with these pictures. So this is me at the Brandenburg Gate, which I had seen only in pictures before when I was a young kid. So I had seen the Brandenburg Gate only in pictures, and once I came to Germany, I visited Berlin, and I could go there in a DPG conference and actually see the Brandenburg Gate. That was a big experience for me. Also, we have to mention the German chocolate, which we enjoyed a lot. And as our life goes on and we do different things, we go to different places, we meet different people. And Germany was such an experience in general. The people were so wonderful, so welcoming. The city of Bremen, it was a great place to stay. And the uni, it provided me with so much experience, so much knowledge, and so much understanding. And it was really a place of learning with such great facilities. It had such supercomputing facilities and uh, such stalwart of a postdoc advisor and learned colleagues who helped me a lot. So I could learn a lot, and it truly became sort of a memory of a lifetime. And I would thank today again the Alumni Association of University of Bremen, and also especially Christoph for inviting me for this talk, and the funding agencies, BFG and Hanse Wissenschaft College, with whose support it was possible for me to work at Bremen, and obviously University of Bremen and BCCMS, all my advisors, and also University of Regensburg and Constructor University Bremen, which was then known as Jacobs University. So with that, if there are any questions, I would like to open the session for questions and end my talk here. Thank you. Over to you, Christoph.